Hello everyone, welcome to In 5 Minutes. In this video clip, we will discuss next question on mesh analysis. The question says find current through 2 ohm resistance using mesh analysis. This is a 2 ohm resistance here. We have to find current through this 2 ohm resistance. So let me define current through 2 ohm resistance. Before that, because we have to use mesh analysis, let us identify the meshes that we have. You can see it's a very simple circuit with already 3 well-defined meshes. So this is mesh number 1. Let me define current through this mesh as I1, current through second mesh as I2, and current through third mesh as I3. So we have taken 3 clockwise currents through all the 3 meshes. Now you can see that this I3 will simply flow through 2 ohm resistance, and hence once I get the value of I3, I will also get the final answer which says find the current through 2 ohm resistor. Please remember, we cannot use any other method of simplification because we have to use mesh analysis as mentioned in the question. So we have identified the 3 meshes. Let's apply KVL in mesh number 1. Now the moment I start applying KVL in mesh number 1, you see that I have to start from a current source here because that's one component. The problem with the current source is that we know the value of the current, but we don't know what is the internal resistance of the current source, and hence it's difficult to define the voltage that will be developed across the current source. Whenever we write KVL equation in any mesh, we have to write all the voltages across all the components. You cannot directly write voltage across current source just by knowing the value of the current which it's applying, and hence whenever we have a current source in my mesh, then you cannot write KVL in simple words. So KVL in mesh 1 cannot be written. Now the next important thing is that there is no need to write KVL in this particular mesh because this current source supplies current of 6 amperes. I1 is the current that we have defined to be flowing through this mesh in upward and then clockwise direction. So we can easily make out that this I1 and 6 amperes, they are nothing but the same current. So without writing any KVL, we simply say that I1 is equal to 6 amperes. Whenever there is a current source in the mesh, then we get the value of current directly. But please note that this current source is only present in mesh 1. It is not present in such branches which are shared by 2 meshes, and hence we get the value of I1 directly. If there was a current source here or here, then what would happen we'll see in the next question. So that's your first step. We have got I1 directly. Now I will now apply KVL in mesh 2. There is no current source in mesh 2, so I can apply KVL in mesh 2 directly. So from this particular point, please remember that you should always check whether there is a current source in the mesh or not. If there is a current source in the mesh, then you can't write KVL equation directly. If the current source is there only in one mesh, then you get the mesh current value directly equal to the value of the current source. If the current source is being shared by 2 meshes, we will see what happens in that case in the next example.